Cam Ward, Carnell Tate, and a bunch of Tennessee Titans weapons have been crushing summer workouts over the past week, and I got highlights to prove it. Wake up, Titans fans. It's time for the Sleeper Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. We're going to dive right into the highlights here, courtesy of Quarterback Select. I believe that's Cam Ward's quarterback development crew, his quarterback coach away from the Tennessee Titans, but their Instagram account has been posting a ton of summer workouts. Let's dive right into what we have. A ton of different players involved here get you fired up there. More Carnell Tate in the end zone, back in the end zone like we saw in OTAs, but now we're in Miami. Now we got a whole crew of people together. Carnell Tate, once again, back in the end zone. Another Carnell Tate on the sit down. Gunnar Helm right there. I believe that's Iomander, Xavier Restrepo, more Carnell Tate. Hard to see on that one. That might be Wan'Dale Robinson or Xavier Restrepo with a shirt on, but a bunch of different people out there for the Tennessee Titans. Here's some deep ones to Wan'Dale Robinson. Got him on the corner route. Another one here to Wan'Dale Robinson on the corner route. So a bunch of different people, a big cast of characters out there for the Tennessee Titans. You start with Carnell Tate. And what I love the most is we're talking about multiple locations, multiple different teammates who have been involved out there. This is exactly what I wanted to see from Cam Ward over the summer. I did, the Locked On Titans podcast a couple of days ago, calling it a perfect summer for Cam Ward and nearly a perfect offseason. And I know not every single throw, not each individual practice, not every single session was absolutely perfect, but to me, that's too micro of a view. When you look at a macro view of Cam Ward's offseason, it's been incredible. And when I talked about what I wanted his summer goals to be, stay healthy, stay committed to your fitness, which is something that he was more invested in this offseason, and he talked about at the podium. And then be a leader, gain chemistry with your teammates, organize camps, have throwing sessions, do all of that. And he's done that tenfold, holding his first Under Armour camp and really teaching and working these guys hard, these younger quarterbacks. I love that Cam is an intense worker. Like, he's not one of these guys who's just here for a nice camp. He wants to make sure you get better. I love that mentality. It just shows, again, that Cam Ward's all ball all the time. Then he's in Texas getting work in, which is where Cam Ward is from. You got Carnell Tate out there. Remember, that was the very first thing that we saw, and it was Carnell Tate on the post route in Texas. And I mean, I know we're talking about practice throws here, but every single one of these throws from Cam Ward is an absolute seed. It's an absolute dime. And this is coming up on top of the Netflix show Quarterback dropping today. And it's like the Cam Ward renaissance is upon us, folks. It's all happening. It's all happening right now. And I love that it's not just Texas with Carnell Tate. Then Cam Ward had his own thing back in Miami, getting the guys together in Miami for a little fun in the sun, a little extra vacation time, but time to get the work in. Again, my favorite video of them all is when the whole gang was all together. And again, I think you see Carnell Tate early. Iomander is in the video. Gunnar Helm catches a ball early in the video. You see Xavier Restrepo without a shirt on. And then there's a person in a black cutoff where the shoulders are cut off. I think that might be Xavier Restrepo having put a shirt on, or maybe before he took his shirt off. But there's also a video of Wan'Dale Robinson in Miami that we talked about that we'll get into again as well. So you know that Wan'Dale Robinson was down there. I mean, you're just trying to catch names, catch faces, things like that. But again, the whole gang together, all of these throws back to back in succession. Cam Ward is just absolutely dealing. Get people lined up. That's Tate back to the end zone. Tate on a sit down. That's Gunnar Helm. That's Iomander's back. See, that's Xavier Restrepo for sure. Now that's Carnell Tate. Now I don't know right there on that one. Is that DK? See, these ones start to go a little bit quicker. It's hard to tell for sure. Let's run it back again. And fired up. I cannot wait for this season. And shout out Quarterback Select Athletics, Select QB Athletics on Instagram. Give them a follow. Just absolutely fired up, man. Absolutely fired up. And then again, If it wasn't clear who Wan'Dale Robinson was and all that, we got some Wan'Dale Robinson only. And I love this. Corner route, deep down the field from the slot, getting vertical. People think that, we're talking about Wan'Dale Robinson being this underneath guy and everything like that, but getting deep, he showed that he could do that a little bit last year for the Giants. I think we're going to see more.
I know what prayer was fake, but I still ate some
corner route. Dime, too. An absolute dime. There we go. Another corner route. Perfect. Dime. This sort of chemistry, like this is why leadership, summer workouts, organizing these things with your teammates. This is why, to me, this was a primary summer goal for Cam Ward. It is so 100% necessary for Cam Ward to do these things. It's not just about being a leader. You know what I mean? It's not just about the camaraderie of having the team together and organizing everybody and everybody wanting to show up and support their quarterback and do all those things are massive. They're massive. I'm not saying that they're not massive. But we cannot overstate the chemistry gain here. Okay? Like being able to be on the same page with Wan'Dale Robinson on those deep routes down the field, understanding the timing, understanding how quickly Wan'Dale Robinson is going to get from point A to point B and where he needs to put the ball based on that speed. Now, you add another layer to that as you get into training camp and you do it against different coverages, which they've already started doing in the pass-centric practices that they were having during OTAs and mandatory minicamp. Robert Saleh said they're basically glorified 7-on-7 with 11-on-11 walkthrough with the offensive line and defensive line, and then 7-on-7 after that. You know what I mean? So Cam Ward's already started doing that, but understanding where guys are going to be, calculating how fast they move in your mind so that you can do the physics you have to do to throw the football where it needs to go. That is a great start. And then after that, and you understand that level, then you start to build vertically, and the next step of that is, hey, when there's coverage in the area against this certain coverage, Wan'Dale Robinson is going to take this amount of time. And now I know, hey, normally it's this, but when I see a guy in this spot, it's going to change by that. And now I know where to throw it. Those sort of intricacies, those sort of details, the little minute factors. You have to start from a base level. And if you start from a base level of, I don't even know where you're at, we haven't thrown together a ton, we don't have chemistry, I don't understand your gait, I don't understand your speed. If you start from there in training camp and you add in coverage, well, the mixture is not ready. The mixture is not ready. You see stuff like that all the time. I think about making a carbonara. You know what I mean? You add the ingredients too early, pan's a little too hot, you don't wait, you don't add enough pasta water. There's all these different factors. You got to make sure that you throw the guanciale and cold into a cold pan so that it renders the fat. If the pan's too hot, the fat doesn't render enough, there's not enough fat, it ruins there are so many different factors. That's the same way that this is for Cam Ward. So the fact that they've already built that base layer, I think that's absolutely critical for me. Now, looking at this from a wide receiver perspective, something that I'm going to talk more about, I'm going to preview the wide receiver position overall tonight on Locked On Titans as we do the 2026 LOT training camp preview. But this wide receiver group, man, just checking all the boxes at every turn, right? At every turn this all season, the wide receivers have checked the boxes. What did Carnell Tate need to do? Check the alpha wide receiver box. Well, guess what? Here again, Carnell Tate's the first guy that we ever saw in a summer workout with Cam. Then we get the bonus video of Carnell Tate with a quick one. Back of the end zone, which, funny, that's just like his highlight from OTAs. We saw another post route in the group video. We saw a slant to Carnell Tate in the group video. We saw a sit-down route. So all these different routes. He checked the boxes in the off-season practices of showing that he could be a great player, Want to see a little more, though. He did tail off there at the end as the veteran corners came in, Alante Taylor, Cordell Flott. So let's see more in training camp. I'll talk about that more tonight again, like I was saying. But being a guy who was at the Texas session, also at the Miami session, focusing on football, working out, being the best that he can be, getting ready, that's the alpha checkbox. Does it mean that he's going to be awesome during the season? No. But if he didn't check off those boxes, if he wasn't present, if he wasn't at both sessions, if it didn't seem like the number one thing in his world was being the best football player that he could be and being the number one wide receiver for this football team, if that didn't feel like it was obvious, then it wouldn't be the case. It needs to be obvious with these kind of guys. Top 5 pick in the draft, number one wide receiver right away, top cog in the offense. He needs to act like it right now. And I think that is one of the best things about drafting Carnell Tate is you're going to get a professional. It's an Ohio State wide receiver. So it's like, if your number one concern is, hey, this guy has the talent in our mind, he just has to act like a number one wide receiver in the NFL to be one. Well, you don't really got to worry about Carnell Tate not taking it serious, not being a professional already. They're professional wide receivers at Ohio State by the sophomore year. That's just, maybe it won't be that case without Brian Hartline anymore, but that, that's what we're getting with Carnell Tate. So you can count on that. So checking those boxes already. And then Wan'Dale Robinson. Vertical routes. I do believe he is in that group video on a couple of shorter things in the quick session where you see Io Manor and Xavier Restrepo catch one. But Wan'Dale Robinson is going to be the number 2. His video at the World Cup with him and his girl, and he was celebrating the Messi goal. So cool, man. He just seems like an awesome dude. Like, I want to chill with Wan'Dale Robinson. Quite honestly, he'd probably be the only football player in the world who wouldn't make me feel small next to him. Me and Wan'Dale Robinson might be about the same height. Shout out to another short king, baby. Go out there and kill him this year. I can't wait. But again, I just feel like Wan'Dale Robinson is an NFL talent version of Xavier Restrepo. And I think a formula, it came to me today. I've been playing college football, 27, a lot. A lot. It's like summer break for me until the Titans start training camp. So I try to play video games and all this stuff that I will not get to do. Once the Titans start having football practice again, it's over for me, folks. I might get a game of Madden in on a Saturday morning before my family wakes up and hope and pray on that one. But anyways, the point is I've been thinking about team building a lot, and we want, I want this kind of archetype of this player in this spot, and this is my system, and blah, blah, blah. I run a 4-2-5. I love safeties, so I have a ton of versatile, hybrid, hard-hitting safeties. I played safety outside linebacker in high school, so that's what I like. Boa, and then power run on offense. I want to throw bombs with big physical wide receivers on the outside, and then a gadget wide receiver in the slot to run, option slot wide receiver and jet sweeps. And, I like to be gadgety in the run game with the quarterback and the wide receivers and, Christian McCaffrey style running backs that are versatile, and then have these big hulking wide receivers on the outside to throw deep balls to down the field. We're going to get layups, and we're going to get 3-pointers, and we're going to get dunks and 3-pointers, I should say, is kind of the philosophy there. But anyway, spinning that forward to the Titans, I think one of the best building formulas the Titans could go with is a bunch of hulking giants with big catch radiuses, great hands, long arms, like Carnell Tate and Gunnar Helm, for example. Alec Io Manor, who maybe not good hands, but big hulking frames, long arm, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying. And then pairing that with inside guys who are incredibly shifty, like a Xavier Restrepo, like a Wan'Dale Robinson. And then you have Chim DK, who can be a vertical slot, or he's big enough. I remember DK's about 6'1", 6'2", 200 pounds. He's about 190, 195, whatever. Close enough. But I'm just saying DK's big enough to play on the outside, not ruin that. And quite frankly, I think if you have a couple of big, huge guys like Helm and Tate for the long term, hopefully Io Manor can be that utility wide receiver, good depth piece for the rest of his rookie contract. And then, you have those 3 hulking giants. DK, who can do a little bit of that, but is more speedy. So you got to, and then you have your gadgety guy like Wan'Dale Robinson. And maybe you have a backup gadgety guy like Xavier Restrepo, for example. But I just think what the Titans are building stylistically for Cam Ward right now in the wide receiver room is perfect. It's perfect for his style of play because he clearly wants the guy that he can trust in a phone booth. Quick, get open. I'm going to you. I know that you're going to get open. You're going to shake man coverage and be there on the quick ones. He had that in Restrepo. He's going to have that in Wan'Dale Robinson. It's going to move the chains a lot. Bingo, bango. Love that. But he also can be a little wonky throwing down the field. So that's where on the outside, the seam with the tight end, that's where you get the big hulking catch radius guys who can kind of help him with that. So I think that all ties together, in my opinion, and fits perfectly. Okay, so Wan'Dale Robinson being there with how important his role in the offense, him and Carnell Tate, again, love seeing that. That's what we need. And then Gunnar Helm, man, I'm telling you folks, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon now. I saw, and I don't blame like a national person. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, everybody should, blah, 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 everybody's seeing it. But I have been high on Gunnar Helm since the moment he was drafted. I was like, hey, I think this guy could be like Austin Hooper in his prime. And Hooper's still a pretty decent player, even as a veteran, you know what I mean? But in his prime with the Falcons, Austin Hooper was close to top 5, definitely a top 10 tight end in the NFL, maybe in that, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 range. I think Gunnar Helm can be in that range. I think he can go 600-700 yards this year. I think he's going to be critical, man. I really do. And with Daniel Bellinger able to do some of the dirty work for Gunnar Helm to allow him to be more of that outside threat, the guy who goes on the move, the guy who gets used in matchups. We don't need to have Gunnar Helm inside next to the tackle to do the tight end thing. We can have Bellinger do that, and we can have Gunnar Helm go be a big slot against a small slot cornerback on a team that likes to play in nickel and refuses to go against our base with their base. Now we have Gunnar Helm split outside man coverage against a 5'9" nickel. Good luck. That could give Gunnar Helm a chance to really break out. Really, and it's coming. It's coming. I promise you that. But Alec Manor being out there, love hearing that. Where's Calvin Ridley? He's a veteran. I don't know. I don't think Calvin Ridley's that bought in. I think he knows this is his last year in Tennessee. He's going to be traded. He's going to be gone after the year. I'm hoping realistically that either Ridley breaks out in a major way or more realistic long-term, Chim DK becomes that number 2 outside guy, even though he's the number 3 wide receiver in the pecking order. Carnell Tate, number 1, Wan'Dale Robinson, number 2, DK, number 3 in the pecking order. DK outside with Carnell Tate outside. And then you could flip that and have Alec Manor in the X, put Carnell Tate at Z, put Chim DK in the slot, and now you have a supersized lineup. And if Alec Manor can reverse his fortune right now and prove to be a starting wide receiver, that's the Titans' best trio long term. And you can let Wan'Dale Robinson go after 2 years, restructure his contract after 2 years, bring him back for 2 more years as he gets closer to 30. And, that could be the play too. But I just think long term, it would be best for the Titans if DK and Manor both blow up and Carnell Tate becomes a number 1. Right. So love the summer workouts. Love the highlights that we're seeing. Love Cam Ward's summer and all season so far. Training camp in a couple of weeks. Again, I'm going to have a ton of new content. Got a little bit more freedom over here to incorporate some things like highlights, video, different things like that on the Sleeper Titans podcast. So make sure that you get subscribed. Hit the thumbs up button. Definitely do appreciate the support. We're over 250 subscribers already, and the channel just got started in the middle of the summer break. So pretty happy about that. We're going to keep growing this thing. Don't be late. Be on time. And thank you so much for tuning in. I am going to be out of here now. I'm your host, Tyler Rowland. Thanks for tuning in to Sleeper Titans podcast. As I tell you guys every episode, tighten up.